race nonetheless. We've got an individual time trial that's already underway, just 9 kilometres in length, so something of a challenge to just about everybody. Too short for the purest time trialists to really impose themselves, and the sort of discipline where I guess the weather is likely to equalise things. You've got to have some luck here today, especially with wind direction as it changes all over the place. Short of no change at all was Peter Sagan yesterday, holding off a charging Bauhaus at the line to take the overall lead in this race. Photo finish took a long time to actually separate the pair. Nonetheless, it'll be Peter Sagan last of the ramp today. I think if the course had been just, 30 centimetres longer, then Bauhaus would have taken it yesterday, but Sagan super lunged his way to the fore, and his Slovak fan club on hand for hugs and refreshment, let's put it that way. He knows how to celebrate, this man. Gets used to winning, you might think, but is hungry for more. How will he go today on what could be a day for the power men? Well, let's find out, shall we? Sagan then in the lead, wearing the leader's green jersey from the new sponsors of this race, Binckbank. But just look at this, it's grim to say the very least. Peter Sagan then leading overall ahead of Lawrence de Vries. Took some intermediate sprint points, as you may have seen yesterday. Phil Bauhaus finished second yesterday with 4-second deficit to Sagan overall. Riders Magnus Cort, Nielsen, McNally, Groenewegen, Van Poppel, Zabel, and indeed Wouter Wippen rounding out your top 10. But basically the entire field is 10 seconds down on Sagan. So close where they bunched yesterday. Well, they're busy out there on course. We've had some great times set early on, and to an advantage, I guess, if you're an early runner, was the wind coming in from the southeast. Since then, it swung round to be a sou'wester, hence the name of the waterproof overalls. A sou'wester is inclement weather, to say the least, and the wind has swung round to be a northeasterly right now, a northwesterly, I beg your pardon. So it's gone 180 degrees. Here's your course, 9 kilometres. 2 kilometres to start you off, essentially, mainly a power course. Then it gets technical with 9 corners. Significant they are. They don't unwind until about 3 to go, and then it's a power all the way back. So how good have you got to be on a day such as this? You've got to be a good bike handler, you've got to have a lot of strength, and quite frankly, you've got to not mind some very, very nasty weather conditions, which we're dealing with right now. Message Bodnar just about to get himself off and underway. Time of the day has been set by a certain Mr. Kung, Stefan, indeed. Man from BMC who's shown great strength indeed of late. And you're looking right now at those who have enjoyed life out on course. Well, we've had some tumbles as well. I don't know whether we're going to see Tony Martin hitting the deck. Both he went down, and indeed Niels Pollard out there. So, not a happy place, not a happy hunting ground for the Message Bodnar. Out on course and setting one of our early benchmarks. It was an 11:02 that really set the cat amongst the pigeons, let's put it that way. He was very, very early off, in fact only second off the ramp, so the crowd had barely finished their stompot by the time that Bodnar actually came to the line. Alex Dowsett has found himself almost isolated within his own team on occasion at Movistar. He's known as a time trialist, but blows hot and cold, and there was that lack of certainty with his time trialling ability that basically knocked him back in the thoughts of Movistar. Well, he's racing here, a chance to kind of show what he's got, to say the least. And indeed, did a great job. In fact, it was good enough for a top 10 for much of the day. Dowsett with an 11:16 when he crossed the line, so not that too far back off Bodnar's pace, but a yawning chasm, I think you might say, for those who were riding on and trying to get into that void. So there was a gap of 14 seconds at the top by the time that Dowsett crossed the line, as you'll see. Dowsett gritting his teeth, but there were plenty of others that would slot into that gap between himself and Message Bodnar, the early pace setter from Poland. Tim Wellens, well, he had, in fact, he came off the ramp, he G-ramped just after Alex Dowsett. In fact, by the time he managed to finish his own run, it was only a second between them, but it was to the good of the Belgian. Well, you see as well, the course is reasonably dry. You see them tracing a sort of a pale water line into the tunnel. It wasn't too bad. There was no wet weather gear on display, and in fact, the cold, although it may well have bitten the fans out here, it didn't seem too much of a problem for the riders. Tim Wellens then, home with an 11:15. The red carpet, well, red asphalt, rolled out for these guys. So Wellens set himself a decent benchmark. We're all waiting, though, to see how Tom Dumoulin would go. Dumoulin, of course, teeing himself up for the World Championships, and indeed hopeful of a time trial title. He's had some bad luck on the approach to the Worlds in the past. So hoping to swap, if you like, the time trial national champions colours of the Netherlands for world bands when he gets to Norway and Bergen. Championships, of course, you'll be able to see live here on Eurosport, your home of cycling. Well, it was a sprightly performance, but the wind was starting to change, and it acted against Dumoulin, I'm afraid. It had swung round, even amongst the early runners. It had started to move. And Dumoulin's time, I've got to tell you, it didn't beat Bodnar. It was close. He won't be smoking any cigars tonight. Second quickest, and indeed 1.16 seconds in arrears. Dumoulin will probably be disappointed with that. Bigger fish to fry during this race? Potentially. But he's got some power men who can potentially get the better of him. Jos van Emden was next off and underway for Lotto Jumbo. De Quintana having done what was expected out there, which wasn't terribly much. With the wind and the weather, it was essentially a time of around 11 minutes. If you get underneath that, then you were certainly going to be in winning ways. But we were expecting times to be around about the 10 and a half minutes, and it shows you just over 9 kilometres of this course. Very, very technical for the main body of it, but a sort of a gentle intro, high speed nonetheless, but not very technical, to get to the corners, and indeed the return as well. So 2 kilometres in, and then, of course, all of those turns, and then 3 kilometres home. Well, as you can see, he caught his Minuteman out there, De Quintana, when Jos van Emden crossed the line, hanging a leg. Well, maybe it could have been a better time had he not just, unfortunately, missed the course. Misguided. Basically, he went down the assistance car route, and Jos van Emden probably would have won it on the day had it not been for that, because he idly came across the line, as you see, disappointed with 11:15, but was clearly in winning ways. Well, off the ramp behind him was Stephen Koen, Swiss champion. And, well, he wouldn't have heard about Jos van Emden's error, as they only started a minute apart, so this is spinning the clock back, if you like, and Koen went for it. Kept it nice and smooth, though. It's all about the lines, particularly on the technical sections. Plenty of 90-degree turns to take, and just look at that, raising an inner pedal, avoiding the street furniture and the elevated sections that they're in, but also just keeping it extraordinarily smooth. And that's the secret, and indeed it's the secret to our leading time so far, and it may well be the winning time. We'll wait and see. Koen then coming home in a hugely impressive sub-11-minute time of 10:58. Jos van Emden must have been wondering what might have been. Same weather conditions for Van Emden, losing out time-wise, 17 seconds? And surely all of that was accounted for by taking the service road or the exit for the cars that backed you up. So, time to swap. Bodnar was out of the hot seat. Stephen Koen was in it, and in fact he's been sitting in there ever since. He's the only rider to go under the 11-minute mark, but all hail those, of course, who've got a big engine. And look no further than this man. Craig van Avermaet off the ramp then. I've got to tell you that this was not a time to set any bonfires, I'm afraid. In fact, just about a minute down by the time he reached the end. Now, we thought maybe he'd had a sketchy time out there, but frankly, I don't think he was imposing himself on the course. There have been some slips today, especially as the rain has started to come down ever more intensively. And as you can see from the spats on the cameras right now, it's not a pleasant place to be. You wouldn't automatically reach for your bike, at least of all a time trial bike, which generally tends to be a little less forgiving in terms of handling. So Greg van Avermaet coming home, and I'm afraid it was a huge margin by the time he crossed the line. There it is. 11:26, so I think I was a little bit more unkind to him than perhaps he displayed out there. That's Tyler Farrar, by the way, just behind. Been caught out there by Van Avermaet. Well, we're seeing some of the great time trialists. In fact, Matt Bradley is one of those. Brian Smith, tough day for everybody out there. Not long enough for the pure time trialists to really impose themselves. One for the power men, but also the fortunate, I think.
Yeah, the conditions were getting worse and worse as the day went on. We've seen some of the conditions now, and the rain is coming down. A lot of the earlier starters got the best of the weather, but the conditions getting worse as the day goes on.
Yeah, not very nice at all. Well, with that swinging wind as well, it's a hard course to read. And even if your teammates have been out earlier, if they were not getting the rain and were having different wind conditions, then there's very little to report back, apart from just keep your fingers crossed and go for it. Bradley coming home with an 11:12, as you've seen. There was a good time set by Lars Bohm as well. That was an 11:08, sort of turning the clock back. Soren Craig Anderson also vaulted into the top 10 with an 11:06. And in fact, here is Lars Bohm right now. He's a power man, Brian, and the sort of character that occasionally can impose himself on a time trial.
Yeah, he's a former under-23 world time trial champion, so he's got the credentials, and this sort of course here in Holland will suit him. And I think he went out there, looked strong in the course, and set a reasonably good time.
He certainly did. Had a difficult start to road racing when he came off the track, you may remember. Took plenty of bumps and bruises along the way, but seems to have settled himself down, albeit towards the back end of his career right now. But Lars Bohm, head down, and reminding us what a good rider he is against the clock. Fourth quickest as he was at that point. Tumbling down to fifth as Soren Craig Anderson got himself a better time. And indeed, that is how we were. Stage 2, the Voorburg individual time trial, not that far from The Hague. Then again, places aren't that far from anything out there. So that's how we set. We were expecting the likes of maybe Niels Pollard, but certainly Tony Martin to start nipping in to these guys. Unfortunately, with the weather change, and indeed the wind change as well, it was becoming a full sou'wester. So what few trees were out there and visible were bending. And talking about the bends, they were starting to take a few prisoners, I'm afraid. Niels Pollard on Volvo corner here. Ouch. Well, you saw the front wheel just buckle underneath him, and down he went. Back on board nice and smartish, but fortunately, chain not where it needed to be, so his drive was in a bad place. No injuries nonetheless, but always something to rattle you and cause a bit of shock. And this was another. While we were dwelling on Niels Pollard getting back on his bike, guess what? Volvo corner caught another one out. This time it happened to be our world champion Tony Martin.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate for the team of Katusha, two riders on the deck, especially the world champion. I'm not going to say that this course is going to suit him in these conditions when we think back to the Tour de France in Dusseldorf, but very difficult conditions for everybody.
Well, you join pictures live right now, as you can see. It is still pretty grisly out there. That was De Venians just coming across the line, Dries De Venians, and there he is, running into what is a horrible old course, I'm afraid. It's about 4 minutes into his run right now. Jan Bakelants and Jens Kerkelaer about to get off and underway. The way the weather conditions are stacking up here, Brian, I think we may well have already found our winner in Stefan Kuhn today, but there's some pretty handy riders still to come, including, not least, Peter Sagan himself at the end.
Yeah, very much looks like that. Unfortunately, that's the way time trials work. It's in a stage race, you have to go off in your classification ranking, and unfortunately for some of the riders yesterday that done so well, including Peter Sagan, he's going to go half, and the worst conditions of the day. Many of the top riders have already finished time trial specialists, and they went when it wasn't so wet, so they've had the best of the day and the best of the conditions.
Do you think those time trialists did a clever thing yesterday by seating themselves at the beginning of the day? Would they have been aware of how the weather was going to shape up, wanted to go early? Because a lot of them did.
I think, yeah, that's the case. Just saving as much as they can, keeping out of trouble yesterday, and maybe looking at the weather forecast for the next day. Yeah, smart choice.
What is this place?
The Modern Software Factory, a hub of digital transformation.
Is this where we come to compete?
This is what you build to compete, where insight drives experience, where automation delivers better apps faster, where agile isn't just a buzzword, it's a way of life.
What about security?
Strong, yet frictionless. All working together at scale. It's about moving to new from old.
Oh, that's not right. I'll put mine back on. Today's stars, tomorrow's leaders.
Buenos dias.
If you're looking for a great deal on superfast fibre broadband, PlusNet can help you out. Keep the whole family happy with unlimited fibre broadband and line rental from one simple price of just $24.99 a month for 18 months.
Wi-Fi code?
Superfast unlimited fibre broadband and line rental from $24.99 a month for 18 months.
Eat my dust, suckers.
Hurry! Offer ends 8th of August. Call 0800 028 8888 now. PlusNet will do you proud.
After this, remember?
Adesso?
Abbiamo un ritmo che fa così. E questo ritmo vuol dire che il mio salute
Lo fanno bene il caffè qui.
questo
Welcome back to East Venice, on course right now, as you can see, and not a bad run either. Still very sketchy out there, a lot of standing water, and I don't think that Stefan Koen's time is going to be beat. East Venice is not a bad time trialist, Brian, and this kind of shows you, especially on a course such as this, that even the power men are starting to suffer.
Yeah, of course, but what I'll try and do is kind of talk through, as we've got a little bit of a lull here on Alex Dowsett's outputs that he sent to me earlier on today. He said the course is in 3 parts. You've already mentioned Carlton, 2 kilometres, then some technical corners, and then 3 kilometres. That's what they focus on, the time trialists. His average power was 427 watts, heart rate 161, cadence 96, and maximum speed 48.2. Average speed is 48.2. The maximum power he had was 813, 179 heart rate, cadence 136, and 57.2. His normalised power, for those who know about normalised power is the estimated power that you could have maintained for the same physiological cost if power had been constant, and that normalised power was 444. So compared to 427, you can see that this course is on the gas, off the gas, on the gas, off the gas, and that's, as you see, Backlands finishing at a time of 11:37. It means that the difference between the normalised power of 444 and 427 means that this course is very deceptible. That you can put the gas on and then you have to ease off in the gas in the corners, put it on again, off, on, and it's a bit more technical than I think everybody thought. And Alex's reasonings behind the course was you don't really get extended sections to lay down the big power, and that's why we're seeing a lot of the kind of big power time trial specialists not able to get their power down because of the conditions, the corners, and the kind of technical nature of the course. I hope that kind of explains it a little bit easier.
Certainly, thanks, Brian. Not being able to set your rhythm, essentially, is what that's all about. 11:30, yes. By the way, coming in from Kirkulea. The great thing about the great time trialists is that they have an amazing capacity to accept and indeed deal with pain. And also, they have a great ability to deliver the power when it's needed. We've spoken in the past about negative splits, which is where you hold something back to deliver later into the course. This is all made all the more difficult when you're constantly having to change that method. You don't know how to feed in the power, quite essentially, when you come into these corners, and especially when you've taken a hit, which a couple of very big names, including world champion Tony Martin, have had today. Disturbing course in the technical sense, Brian. There's no respite from the technical nature of it in the main body of it, and that is what about 2/3 of this course essentially are what have we got, about 4 kilometers of the 9, I beg your pardon, only technical. So and the problem is it's actually dead center as well, so you can it doesn't matter how you approach it, it's how you deal with that technical section before you bring it home. And if you're upset as part of your run, it's going to have an impact, a negative one.
Yeah, it's see Philip Gilbert just about to start for Quick Step Flows, former Belgian time trial champion, and yeah, you're dead right. Maintain his threshold of power. Trying to get as near normalised power as possible. For Alex, in case it's 4:44 over this 9-kilometre difference, but what he did debate was in some of the corners he was actually resting too much, and that dropped his power over the average.
Yes, Pistorius, strong run from him. Well, you'd expect that, but I'm afraid it's all around the 11.5 minutes. Good enough to start essentially our classics days, and that's where the time gaps are going to be huge.
Yeah, this is a little bit of a marker initially, the time trial, and it kind of just splits the race up, and over the next couple of days, I don't think many of these riders will be worried about it as we see what it's like to be on the hot seat, warm down, and then just sit back in this nice chair and read a nice book.
I don't know where they got it from a local boozer by the looks of things. He's actually done his warm down.
An English country pub.
It looks like it, doesn't it? You expect to have a gentleman with a silver tray and a vol au vent from stage left, but it doesn't look like it's happened just for the time being. Although he did glance. That's audience right.
So like I was saying, just a little bit there, is that it'll split the field up. This race is normally about the sprinters the first few days. Okay, the time trial's thrown in, and then all about the overall contenders and the climbers. A few teams have come here just with purely the general classification in mind. They don't have a sprinter that can feature, so they just have to remain patient, and then the last 3 days do something. But I think Jasper Stuyven, maybe slightly disappointed with his time, but he did have kind of harsh conditions. But he'll be a rider that is expected to try and feature well up in the general classification come Sunday.
It's not a day for Clint, and you can see from the trace and indeed the rooster tails that are being kicked up by the wheels here. This is an inclement weather, to say the very least, and I think it's going to affect those later into the day far more than it did the time trialists. Some of those who are certainly leading today. Clever stuff. We mentioned it just before the break. For those who favour this discipline, just holding themselves back yesterday to guarantee themselves an early start. It's notoriously difficult to predict the weather, but it looks like that the likes of Bodnar, Dowsett, Wellens, Tom Dumoulin, Stefan Kung, who leads this, Bradley, Lars Bohm, Miles Scotson, they all read it very well.
Yeah, they did, and just with maybe a little bit more experience for Ryan Mullen here, the Irish time trial champion, but he was up there helping out his team sprinter yesterday, Walter Woodpert, and just finished in a bunch. Maybe never really thought about it, the time trial today, but he finished just last week third in the European time trial championships, just behind Bodnar and Campanart. Campanart's not here, but Bodnar is, and Bodnar is sitting second in that competition. But these conditions, you know, as the Irish champion, I don't think he'll be worried about it, but these conditions are a bit more harsh than they were a little bit earlier on today, and I think Ryan will be looking to do a very good time, a very good result, but these conditions might mean he might slip down the order a little bit.
Next rider, I'm going to be sort of, well, how can I do so today, really, because you're kind of questioning their skill set and indeed their coping strategy in these kind of conditions. Everything has been thrown to one side, really, or up in the air. Alexander Edmondson is somebody that I'm looking forward to seeing, and he'll be going off the ramp in around about 6 minutes' time. Just for those of you who are timing all this, about 10 minutes later we'll have Jen Drucker and Marcel Kittel. Now yesterday Marcel got himself into a mess. We said that a straight road often begs the teams to bunch together, and that's where it's difficult for you to keep hold of your sprint train. If you're not actually one of the favoured, 7 teams who mob the front of the road, then you're out of it. And both Marcel Kittel yesterday was shoulders dropped, and Arnaud Demar, both of whom are decent time trialists, by the way. They can make up ground today, but their opportunity of taking a stage win yesterday was thrown away by bad positioning.
I think we were talking about it in the run-in. We were trying to pick out the French champion, where was he, and he stuck behind, and they were just waiting for it to open up. And you know, it's one of these cases where very similar to last year, yesterday's stage, where it just happened very late on. And of course, the positioning of the sprinter is key. I think it doesn't really matter where your team is. The sprinter always has to try and fight and stay where he is, closer to the front. You look at Sagan, he does it all the time. He sits at the front, his teammates come up if they can and try and help him, but he sits as far to the fore as possible. And you know, just the way he rides and the way he went round that last roundabout, picking and choosing wheels, sometimes, yeah, it can produce costly and dangerous jumping from wheel to wheel to wheel, but he's very good at doing this. Well, Kittel, they tried to do what they did in the Tour, where they were successful in the Tour de France, but the Tour de France stage finish was somewhat faster than the run-in yesterday, and they were able to move up late and then take control and deliver them. But yesterday, he was well out of position. I think with about a kilometre to go, he was in about 30th place, where they were going full gas, and then he's not, before that roundabout, round the roundabout, and absolutely nowhere. So I think Quick-Step got it completely wrong last year, maybe a little bit complacent, and I think the sports directors will have had words overnight.
Yeah, I'm sure. We saw Ryan Mullen a few moments ago. And then we're just looking at Van Kiersbulk, by the way. You saw Oscar Gatto losing his number. Some of them are stuck on time trialling skin suits, and unfortunately the weather counts against them on occasion, so you don't often see the pins because some of them are actually stuck on. You've also seen the use on occasion of lunches that the numbers slot into as well. So I haven't sorted numbers out really. Van Kiersbulk doesn't look like he's been down. I think that was just a to hell with it ride.
Yeah, it's difficult for a lot of these riders in these conditions. You can just see it's in town, and a lot of white lines. And you know, when you look at the map of the course, it doesn't look that bad. But hearing from Alex a little bit earlier, said it was a very difficult course to judge, and he actually finished with he said plenty in the tank. So it just goes to mean when you go out there and you're looking at your power meter, you're setting your threshold. What do you think you can go at for the full whole 9 kilometres? And then you come to like a corner like this, you ease back, you're getting your breath again, and then accelerating out again. So a lot of these riders will probably misjudge this course a little bit, especially in the conditions, and finish feeling that they probably could have gone a little bit faster.
Yeah.
Maybe not in the corners, but maybe throughout the whole course.
I think you're right, Brian. The Vermont Fort is just coming in, another rider over the 12, and this doesn't bode well for the late runners, I'm afraid, because clearly weather conditions, we're having the slowest times of the day so far, and they're starting to bite. Shame that we haven't had the map to show you. Our providers here have not done us any favours in that regard, but just to tell you, the sequence that we have at the beginning is around about 3 kilometres, and then they take on right-hand bends, 90-degree bends, I should say, a mixture of them, most of them left, strangely, as we bring ourselves back to around 3 kilometres to go, where the road straightens out again. There's no aerial shots, or very few of them, I'm afraid, today, because of the inclement weather as well. They can't fly high enough to give you a GV because of the cloud, which is burst and providing us with this moisture.
What is this place?
A modern software factory, a hub of digital transformation. Is this where we come to compete? This is what you build to compete, where insight drives experience, where automation delivers better apps faster, where agile isn't just a buzzword, it's a way of life.
What about security?
Strong, yet frictionless. All working together at scale. It's about moving to new from old.
Oh, that's not right. I'll put mine back on.
Grepolis, bring prosperity to your people and lay the foundations with the help of the gods of a powerful empire. Plan your strategy, forge alliances, and fight in epic battles. Conquer island after island and become ruler of Grepolis. Play now for free at grepolis.tv or download the app.
Save up to £180 over a year in the BT summer sale. Get unlimited BT broadband for £24.99 a month, including line rental on a 12-month contract. Plus, you can have BT Sport now free for 12 months. If you join online before the 15th of August, you'll also get a £40 BT reward card. So don't miss out saving up to £180 over a year, because the BT summer sale ends 15th of August. Visit bt.com/sale or call 0800 028 0048 to join BT today.
There he is, the man that decided to take life to the high board, throwing himself headfirst into the chlorinated unknown. And in the eyes of his young son, fueled with whole grain shredded wheat, this dad is shredding life, shredding that hotel high board.
Words are flowing out like endless rain into a paper cup. They slither while they pass, they slip away across the universe. Trying for the nothing's gonna change my world.
Choosing the right truck for my business was an important decision. With so many options, I had to choose the right one.
At Panorama, we're here to support you every step of the way.
Benjamin, my account manager, was brilliant. If you find a better deal, even after ordering, they'll match it.
Transform your business with a brand new pickup truck in 2017. We've got amazing deals, all with fast free delivery. And we can fit a range of accessories.
Ryan Mullen, Irish time trial champion, coming in with a highly respectable time, as you can see. It's could have been an awful lot better. He's had some great results of late, as Ryan, just 23 years of age, we remind you, 25 seconds down, but the great Philippe Gilbert, around about the same margin, came in just ahead of Ryan. He's had some very good results as well. European Continental Championships, of course, that were only a couple of days past those, finished himself with a bronze medal. This is Alexander Edmondson, of course, an Aussie with Orica Scott. Likes better weather than this, but in his gene pool, he's used to coping, Brian, with some grisly conditions. He's from your neck of the woods, Ernst.
Yeah, but we bit further up north. He's got family. Well, his family heritage goes back to the north of Scotland. In fact, his grandfather played for Elgin City football team. I think it's still a football team.
This, Joseph.
I think there'll be a lot of people up north not liking me for that comment, but I can't say anything being a Paisley Buddy fan.
There we are. So yeah, Elgin, he lost his marbles, and indeed they lost Grandpa Edmondson as well, who decided to go down under. But Owen Doull coming across the line, I was expecting him to fare well today. Likewise, John Dibbon actually, both of whom are strong in these kind of conditions. That was a strong performance.
Yeah, they've come from the last few years from a track background. Okay, they ride a bit of road and track, and yeah, it's nice to see them on the first kind of step of the ladder. Everybody thinks when you kind of made it as you get into a World Tour team, well, it's the first step of the ladder for John Dibbon and Owen Doull, and I think they'll learn a lot and progress, and they'll be the future of British cycling on the road.
Good 6-day riders as well, and
I've seen for more than 6 days though.
They can. They're going to have to here. Of course, this is stage 2 of the 7. Gosh, you can see how gingerly they're taking it. It's a shame when the weather changes such as this, Brian, and essentially it knocks out the competition later into the run. We can't pretend to those at home that it's better than it is. We basically have had our best runs early on.
Yeah, and in this type of event, there's nothing they can do. If it's a road race and, you know, we have, this extreme protocol for weather, but this isn't extreme, this is just nature, and that's why sometimes in races, especially a prologue, and this isn't a prologue, if it was a prologue you could decide whether you go off later or at the start, as Greg Abola for Barry and Marino just about to start his effort. In a prologue you get a choice to where you want to kind of start your time trial, and it's down to the team where they place you. This is the second stage, so you go in reverse order. So unfortunately, if you wanted to go one of the riders first off and get it out of the way, I think at the end of the day, most of these riders that maybe finished at the back of the bunch yesterday wanted just to get this time trial out of the way, and instead of kind of hanging about all day, they wanted to get out of the way. And I believe that some of the sports directors would have looked at the weather conditions. Everybody knew there was going to be kind of thunderstorms in the afternoon, so they took the gamble, and I think the gambles paid off for many of them.
I think you're right. Starting after Gregor will be Eli Viviani. In fact, here he is. In these conditions, you could probably say he's got the perfect nose for it. Dolphin styling. Bless him. But yeah, Viviani is not a content man. In fact, he's on the move after this season, having in Sky colours, or wild contracted to Sky. He's certainly achieved a lot, both in the Olympics and elsewhere, but he wants more.
Yeah, I think it was a good signing by Sky. He's come out and got some good results. Just missed out in the weekend and Sunday there for the European Championships. He's a quality bike rider, gold medalist in Rio and the Omnium. So yeah, I think he maybe wants a little bit more, maybe wants a little bit of help. And when you've got a team like Team Sky looking at different areas in the general classification, sometimes they can overlook their sprinters.
Gosh, you know, each time that we see this, my mind goes back to those who've got it wrong today. At least Oscar Gatto stayed on the bike, but just 10 seconds shy of the 12-minute mark, where the best times are 11 minutes, or indeed a little bit less in the case of Stephen Kung. Our benchmark is at 10 minutes and 58 today. A little bit of Comlich for you to deal with, and in fact plenty of puddles, which they're now splashing through, quite literally. There we are, Brian. These conditions are actually getting towards dangerous now, and the riders know that, which is why they're knocking it back.
The thing is, in these conditions, you don't take chances. No one does. In the earlier conditions, because it was a little bit dry, you take the risk, and we've seen a couple of falls already.
King then leads by a margin of 4 seconds from Massis Bodnar, with Tom Dumoulin. Don't bother looking for Tony Martin. He fell, I'm afraid, along with others who've taken a tumble today, and everyone else has dialed it back. And so I think 10:58 is probably going to be our winning time.
Yeah, very much looks like that. And as we've seen from the average speeds of Alex Dowsett, who's just slipped out the top 10 now, 48.2, and I believe that the average speed of Stephen Kung is just under 50 kilometres an hour. Some of these prologues, even when we look at the prologue from the Tour de France, was run out, it's well over 50 kilometres an hour. So it just gives you an understanding that this course is a lot more trickier than maybe most people thought.
One of the benefits of this new clean air protocol, which is being imposed on many cities around Europe, and indeed potentially the rest of the globe, is that they're going to be taking away the traffic calming devices, which is elevated street furniture, sleeping policemen to you and me. And that's because cars slow down before they hit them and then speed up afterwards, and so it's wasted energy, essentially. There we go. You want to preserve a little bit of energy and shorten the course, then you're quite entitled to do a bit of bunny hopping. That was a nice way of dealing with that roundabout. Good stuff. It's going to be a positive boon to road cyclists, Brian, when they get rid of speed humps.
Yeah, it is. But obviously, traffic slowed measures are in towns like this for a reason. But yeah, it's going to benefit most people, and likes in Belgium and other places in Europe, they have kind of removable furniture. It's just when we came to Holland quite a few times, the furniture just gets more and more and more, and it's not removable, so it gets very, very dangerous. But it was the same, I think, when we started racing in Switzerland. Even back in my day, there was a lot of road furniture, and cars weren't stopping. But then we had it in Britain as well. It's an education process, and it's a thought process when they're planning out the roads, and I think they're starting to understand that cycling is not going to go away. It's becoming more and more popular.
Well, just look at this. You've got an isolated cycleway in the centre of this highway, between the trees there, both directions, just for cyclists. Pedestrians have got their own, of course, pavements, but that's exactly what you need. In fact, all roads that are built within the Netherlands and Belgium, new roads, have to have an isolated cycleway as part of their design. Sebastian Lagerveld coming in. This is a pacey approach, as you can see. He meant this. Some of these riders are going to be trying to impose themselves a little deeper into this race once we get to our classics days, Amstel Gold Race, Liège-Bastogne-Liège, Flanders days, that will round out this great race, formerly the Eneco. These days, Binckbank have come in to sponsor it, so the race name is indeed the name of the sponsor. So it's causing some confusion to some of you, but we're very pleased that Binckbank have indeed taken it on. You see from the flaring of the sport car lights here, that it's intensifying the weather, and now it's actually splashing off the cameras. In the movies, they say if you can see to see the rain because of the reveal, the way that it works as a flicker book. Let's call in Alexander Edmondson first, however. This is a spirited effort by Edmondson late on, and indeed would have been a challenger, I am certain, had he not gone so late here today. Alexander Edmondson and everyone up there in Elgin in northern Scotland probably cheering their heads off right now. Gosh, a top 20 this late on is a very, very fine ride.
No, very good ride. You see Viviani just coming up to the corner now, just very gingerly. He's got a point to prove in the next couple of stages as he tries to win a stage.
Well, welcome to the swimming pool. Here's Volvo Corner. I'm sorry, Volvo, but you sponsored it. And it's clearly a bit sketchy, is it not?
Yeah, that's the same place that Tony Martin and Niels crashed in, and you can just see that even going round ever so gingerly there, Viviani, a man of his experience, just went round there and the back wheel kicked out.
Yeah, it did. I drive a Volvo, by the way. I'm very fond of the cars. Anyway, meanwhile, back on course, Viviani looking extraordinarily respectful of the conditions, let's put it that way. Yeah, in the movies, if you want to see rain, they often have to CGI on late on because of the way that pictures are revealed to you. So basically, if you can see the rain falling, it means it's very, very heavy. I'm not talking about the spats on the camera lens, but it's actually starting to sheet down the camera lens right now, and there's a lot of standing water here as well that they're chugging into. Well, here's your man, Marcel Kittel. We've had Jempi Drucker just come off the ramp a few moments ago, but Marcel Kittel, as a junior, was a time trial champion, national time trial champion, I should add. And so it's part of his makeup that he can go well. The conditions here, though, for a man who often, how can I put this, he backs out of sketchy moments. It's not going to be long before he has a few out here. And the opening curves tell you everything you need to know. He's not going to set a blistering time today, I'm afraid. Could have done, I think, if it had been dry, because it would have fallen into his hands, Brian. A power course, 9 kilometres, nobody around him to worry about. Right now, though, it is contact with the surface that is going to knock him back.
Yeah, with Marcel Kittel, it's all about the acceleration. He's got out the corners, out the technical areas, accelerating quicker up to speeds where others a bit more laboured and get back up to that speed. Like we were talking a little bit earlier about Alex Dowsett, going round the corners with caution and trying to get back up to speed. Well, Kittel is very good at getting up to speed very, very quickly. And you know, you think after yesterday he'd want to do a very good time trial, thinking of the next 2 stages that are yet to come, which will suit him in a sprint, and he could possibly take that the leader's green jersey. And you got to remember, we go into Belgium in a few days, and if he was to take it in Ardouille in a couple of days' time, then you know it'd be fantastic for his sponsor Quick Step Floors. But under these conditions, I've won 5 stages of the Tour de France. Do I really want to risk crashing? That's what I think he's asking himself.
Yes, I think Viviani is riding in a similar vein, to be honest, albeit a lighter man. But Preben van Heck is just coming to the line right now. I'm not sure whether you're seeing these pictures, but he's just crossed the line. Preben van Heck, and here's Van Speybroek as well. Van Heck was well in the 12s. Van Speybroek just comes across the line. Looks like he wants to head straight to a little bit of warmth. A blanket and some hot tea, please. Here's Marcel Kittel then on one of these sketchy corners. Lots of paintwork, as you can see, and we start looking out not only for the elevated furniture but also for polished storm drain covers, polished by the amount of vehicles that have been over them. Thankfully, they don't appear to be there in the corners, and which would add just yet another element, I'm afraid, for everyone to take care of. I've been impressed by Marcel Kittel on his time trial machine on a number of occasions. He often causes a surprise. I don't think that's going to be the case today. In the Tour de France, he seemed to have just exhausted himself. He was depleted of all resources, it seemed, after taking 5 stage wins, Brian. That's a fantastic picture. He's just rolling up the foil from some cake. He's been on the rollers. I'm surprised he doesn't swing a leg over one of the arms of that Chesterfield chair. Magnificent. That is Stephen Cook, by the way, who is our leader. And he's got his warm weather gear on, and no surprise, because he's got to sit there until the end. And that's going to take some time. In fact, we've got about 50 minutes of the entire proceedings to go. Peter Sagan will go off in around 40 minutes' time. I don't think he's going to light up the afterburners either, I'm afraid, today. He can afford just to kick back a little bit. But after yesterday's performance by Sagan, I think he's possibly favoured to take the title here.
Yeah, he looked very good. Only just won. I think it was just on the lunge at the end. Bauhaus very close in the end, but Sagan will take it. The world champion, another win. But yeah, just looking at the hot seat, I think the most eloquent hot seat I've seen was in the London 2012, the throne with Bradley Wiggins. That was quite cool. But I think that Chesterfield there with Stephen Kung is up there.
I just love the way they keep hooking back to him playing video games, eating his cake. Gregor Boller, I'm afraid it's not going to be a happy time for him. He's in the 12 minutes and more marker. Some very big gaps have been thrown up today by some of those who had a hope in this race.
Yeah, you're finding now we're getting a lot of the riders that were helping their sprinters, the kind of support riders. So they're not looking for the overall. They're not looking for anything else but getting through this course unscathed, not crashing, and looking at helping their team leaders in the next few days to come.
Yeah, and it'll be Marcel Kittel who'll be going for some of the sprints and hopefully manage to keep hold of his sprint train. We talked about the fact that he got disengaged from his yesterday. Andre Greipel, likewise, his sprint train did a great job, unfortunately without him. Not quite sure about that. That's the chugging into this this standing water, and that's destabilising in itself in terms of confidence. In fact, Viviani's decided that the spectacles were just so wet. He hasn't ridden with a visor here. You see that sometimes. It's so drizzly out there. He's decided to blink his eyes clean, and in fact, as you can see, it's going to be sprint days for him only. I think he'll be accepting of today. It's just something he had to get out of the way.
Yeah, that was something I disliked because I used to have to use prescription glasses when I raced in the wet. I didn't mind the wet weather conditions. It's not being able to see, which was the worst thing.
Yep, exactly.
I used to wear one of the kind of oppie hats, the peak caps under my hat, and it used to keep about a centimetre and a half of no rain just at the top. But it's your position of your neck. You'd have to position your neck so that the oppie hat wouldn't put the rain onto your glasses. And you can see a lot of the riders just spraying water on their glasses to try and clear them, but very difficult to do.
Max Richesi, fast man himself, but always on lead-out duties. It seems, of course, for Marcel Kittel, we've just seen out on course. As he tried to come off the ramp there, back wheel just spun a little bit on the, I think it's vinyl that covers that start ramp. And so a reminder right at the very beginning of just how sketchy this can be, and he takes a big series of turns to get through just one, hexagoning that, Brian, to just get himself into the run.
Yeah, exactly. Richesi, as you said, one of the lead-out riders for Kittel yesterday. Well, Kittel is leaving the team, Gaviri is staying in the team, and yeah, it's very difficult to kind of gel these partnerships together. To see Kamyshev finishing with a time of 12:37, and then closely behind you've got one of the riders from France de Joux, Ladagnu, just about to finish in 11 minutes and 42 seconds. But yeah, it's when I really don't like the fact that the UCI are allowed to, they've got that ruling from the 1st of August. You can allowed to tell where you're going, and people know where you're going and things like that. I think it should be somewhat towards the end of the season, because it's all about motivation, and at the back of your mind, you know that someone's not staying in the team, and it's very difficult to commit to 100%. It's really hard on the sports directors to keep everything right.
I think a rule might well be apposite, if you like, that the World Championships are the place for these announcements, and then we will have dealt with all of the Grand Tours. Yeah, exactly that. You complete your events at the World Championships. I know the season still runs on beyond it for some riders, but really that, I think, would be an appropriate time to have the reveal, as it were.
Yeah, for sure, that would be a start, I think, because it's all happening at the moment. A lot of this speculation, and very difficult for the teams and the riders.
Delaware Popple off and underway, and in fact we've only got about 35 or so minutes to go before Peter Sagan is the last man off the ramp. Yes, nobody is too keen on the day, as you can see. It's hardly fully committed today. I think you probably have to be if you thought this was great. Ryan Gibbons will be next, then Vityovsky. Sidman Mark is somebody I'm looking forward to seeing, actually. He's somebody who is... he'll be in attacking mode, let's put it that way. I think if you are brave enough, Brian, and you are one of those who are thinking about the title here, it's the sort of day that you could find quite a bit of time.
Yeah, but at risks, I think, in these conditions. But I think everybody going through the course pretty much equally the same. Like a little bit earlier on when it was somewhat a bit drier. I'm not saying it was drier, a bit drier. Some people were taking risks, and when you take risks, there are consequences. Some of them have already had their consequences, including the world champion Tony Martin when he fell. But other people took their risks and are now sitting in the hot seats and sitting well up in the top six.
This brick section here, it's a sort of polished brick really, and it will have been polished by the vehicles that have come through here, I imagine buses and the like, that have essentially just made the surface a little bit less grippy, because they've basically polished out the nap. Does that make sense? And that little sequence that you saw on the approach of the red bricked area, not necessarily the cobbles, they seem to be a little bit more grippy. Meanwhile, we hook back to Marcel Kittel, who looks like he's out of the seat, powering in. It won't be a bad time for Kittel, this. But he's thinking about sprint days only, I think, along the way. Just having a look at the mech.
Just trying to show the rain coming off the chain now.
Yep. Well, there's plenty of that. They're struggling for arc shots today because basically it's just wet. You always seem to function reasonably well in the wet, right?
Yeah, and I always get the question, because you're from Scotland, you enjoy riding in the wet. I don't enjoy it as much as anybody. I like riding in the sun, but yeah, you endure it. You know how to deal with it, and that's the case. But when you look back at childhoods, as we see, that's not Marcel Kittel.
Well,
Stefan Kung finishing.
I think no.
He's already finished.
Yes.
They're trying to throw some tricks in there.
They're chucking them around. Yeah, it'd be nice to see the course actually as well. Course map for you, but I've tried my best to describe it to you. It looks like a Lego dog, to be honest. A Lego sausage dog. That's how I'm describing it, Brian. In fact, would you want to take a picture and put it up on Twitter for those who are at home and have got are actually spooned up on social media? In fact, it's probably about time we actually came to some of you for some questions. I'll fire it up as we speak. It's been a bit of a juggling act today, I must admit. But nonetheless, here's Marcel Kittel. There's Stephen Kung's time. Brian is indeed, as we speak, taking a photograph from today's course. And as I suspected, it's not a bad effort by Marcel Kittel considering the conditions and the fact that he's a big man who will go down very hard if his contact point patch with the surface is compromised. There we are, 41st with an 11:36. We've seen plenty of others come through in the 12s. Brian's just sorting a course out right now. It does look, do you think Lego Sausage Dog sums up the course, Brian?
Well, let's see what others think. I don't know where you get that from, but then again, I don't know where you get some of your information from. So
it's called imagination, Brian.
Yeah.
Here we are, back out and on course right now. In fact, we've had Ryan Gibbons off yet? Yes, we have. I beg your pardon. This is Reinhard Janse van Rensburg of South Africa. Nice guy, Reinhard. Really solid guy to have on a team.
Yeah, very good. I tell you what he did in the Tour de France for the lead-outs was absolutely amazing. I'd say one of the best domestics in the sprint trains during the Tour de France.
Indeed. No question, says Tequila Donkey, just a big, dry, warm hug. Well, frankly, we could do with that. Brian's here under sufferance as well, we remind you. One of the walking wounded. Already had one operation, needs another one next week to remove a boulder from his kidneys. Sepp van Mark. Oh, here's a rock. Now, just look at his demeanour. I think this is his bid to take control of this race. He's going to try and be braver. Look at this is properly determined. I knew that Sepp van Mark would go for it today. He doesn't mind inclement weather. Now, if he can stay upright, he will try and find time on some of the main contenders for the title here, right now.
Yeah, he wants to throw a little bit of caution out there because we've already seen a few crashes already today, but he looks more determined than anybody else we've seen start at this period of time.
Yeah, very much so. Well, don't forget you heard it here first. Sepp van Mark, I think, let's put it out there then, shall we? I think possibly a top 20 position right now. But that bodes well. Time gained here by being brave. Let's hope it doesn't get to be any more crazy than that. By being brave is time you don't have to find when we get to our classics days a little bit later on. He's clearly going for it.
Yeah, he limits his losses today, and he was up there towards the front of the sprint yesterday. So yeah, obviously feeling good, and wants this course will suit him through the next few days, especially the last few days. So yeah, Sepp van Mark will be thinking about trying to win this overall.
I think so. Danny van Poppel already out on course. We've got Dylan van Baarle, who I think will also go well, and Josh Sutterlin, who was 6th in the Dauphiné, you remember. I think that youngster from Germany and Movistar will also go well. We'll take a break, back in a moment.
Modern software factory, a hub of digital transformation. Is this where we come to compete? This is what you build to compete, where insight drives experience, where automation delivers better apps faster, where agile isn't just a buzzword, it's a way of life.
What about security?
Strong, yet frictionless. working together at scale. It's about moving to new from old.
Oh, that's not right. I'll put mine back on.
Right now is a great time to join BT Mobile. It starts from just £5 a month if you've got BT broadband at home, and you can get online with fast 4G and Wi-Fi hotspots in more places than any other mobile provider. You can get 500 megabytes of data with our great value starter SIM for just £5 a month. If you need more, our Essential SIM has 3 gigabytes of data for £11 a month. Then there's our Ultimate SIM, fully loaded with 15 gigabytes of data for just £20 a month. Anyone can get a great deal with BT Mobile. With a great range of SIM-only plans to choose from, you're bound to find the right one for you. Call 0800 456 1456 or visit bt.com/SIM-only.
Skechers Sport with memory foam.
Like a beast came to make it hot. We beat the fire starter. Bubbling up just like lava, heated like a sauna. Penetrating through your body armor. Rhythmically we massage ya.
At Oak Furnitureland, there are huge savings on this 100% real hardwood TV cabinet. Now just $337. Our summer sale is now on.
Blow the roof off with the Full House bundle from Virgin Media. Get the Sky channels you love and must-see series on demand. Watch every live UEFA Champions League game and massive Premier League battles from BT Sport. Plus, record 6 shows at once with our Virgin TV V6 box and go ultra fast with Virgin Fibre. The Full House bundle, just £55 a month for 12 months and a £20 activation fee. Search Virgin Media Bundles.
Anything can happen when you're out and about. But with the AA, there's no need to worry. Join from just £39 a year. Our cutting-edge technology means we can fix 8 out of 10 cars at the roadside in around 30 minutes. And with us, you get unlimited call-outs, so we'll always keep you rolling. So why wait? Break down membership from £39 a year. Search AA Summer or call 0800 107 1705. The AA, because anything can happen.
Dylan Van Baal, I don't know whether he's having any information sent back to him by Sepp Van Mark. I don't think Sepp Van Mark is, after only separated by 2 minutes, has got any time to press the communications button. That would mean lifting your hands off the bars, and that's exactly what you don't want. Richesi coming in, and I think, well, that tells you everything you need to know. He's saving himself to be lead out for Kittel in the next 2 days of sprinting, which will take us to our Classics days. Meanwhile, out on course, this is Danny Van Poppel you're looking at right now. And again, everybody will remind you just about is 10 seconds down on the leader, Sagan, courtesy of his 10-second bonus yesterday, because everyone finished together. But there will be some big gaps today, I think. And if you're brave, then you'll be able to set some of them and maybe just move closer towards the leader's jersey. And Sepp Van Mark a few moments ago is exactly that. This is Josh Sutherland, the youngster from Germany. Just talking to Brian about the fact that he's part of a new wave of riders, and he's going to have a great contract with Mobdro. In fact, he's extended for another couple of years with them. Only 24 years of age, and well, how would you describe him apart from quiff-tastic, just like Marcel Kittel? He's got a Kittel hairdo. I don't know what that's about.
Yeah, I think he's a talented young rider. He's been around a few years, and I think he's broken through with his performance side of things over the last kind of 12 months or so. And I think that's why Mobdro are backing him. He's another rider that's very capable of doing a good time today and doing something special in this race.
Second to Tony Martin in the Nationals, by the way. Tony Martin's taken a tumble here today. It's Danny Van Poppel. And yes, they're going to be out in the 40s, I'm afraid, which kind of underscores what Marcel Kittel did out there, hovering around the top 20 as we speak. But yeah, I'll be fascinated to see what Josh Sutherland does. He's got a young man's view of his his own mortality, I think, if we can put it that way, or his own impregnability, which means he's likely to take a few more risks. Sepp van Mark is really pushing on this course, knowing that he's embedded within those who are going to be going for the general classification. Starting the day as he does around there in about 28th place, but all on the same time difference. He's clearly motivated. He's putting a lot of power down here. He's giving the corners respect, Brian, but it's the bit between his teeth when he needs to. He's doing a good job.
He's trying his hardest. Whether his hardest will be good enough in the end, that's what we'll have to kind of wait and see. Often people will look a lot more comfortable, but they're actually riding a bit slower. But certainly his commitment is 100% to this time trial, and we're going to have to wait a little bit to see what his end result is.
You'll be pleased to know, Brian, that my description of the map has met with approval by many who do see the sausage dog in today's
I cannot believe there's some other people out there that think the same as you, Carlton.
Bex says, I see the sausage dog. She's given the thumbs up. We've got Ginty. She also sees exactly what I'm talking about. So back in your box, mate. Here we are. Some of you talking about that there's got to be a better way than pins. Well, here is the Cannondale team, as you can see, with a plastic sleeve on the backside. Yeah, exactly. Well, a pochette is a pouch that's also a pocket. But anyway, here's Vinyovsky was working hard yesterday to try and tee up Viviani. In fact, it's not a bad time actually for Lukasz.
Yeah, good young, talented Polish rider. Had his problems with kind of a wee bit of illness and injury, and nice to see him back actually.
Yep. Solid, I think you might say. It's strange when you come across riders that within a team such as Team Sky, but their roster is so accomplished. It is possible.
It's sometimes kind of difficult. Most people want to go to the world's best teams, and when you go to the world's best teams, you become a little bit anonymous, and that's why we see sometimes riders have dropped down a level to, look at Warren Barguil now, dropped down to second division because they want, that opportunity. Saying that that's probably not a best example because Warren Barguil won 2 stages of Tour de France and the King of the Mountains title, but most riders, young riders, want to go to the top. Sometimes it's not that important for your own development if you're riding for a second division team, giving yourself an opportunity.
Yeah, Warren Barguil, just to inform you, has taken King of the Mountains jersey, of course, in the Tour de France, but at a couple of stages. Has dropped down to Fortuneo Vital Concept, so he's relying essentially, Brian, on invites for his team in order to function at the highest level.
Yeah, and I think they will give the invites. It's most important to the teams. He won't get opportunities to ride possibly the Giro or the Vuelta. For sure they'd have to go through the wildcard system, but I'm sure that the Tour de France invite will be there, especially with Warren Barguil. And it's a good investment to one of these kind of local teams. He's from the Bretagne area, and if he goes to Fortuneo, it just gives them a huge boost.
Well, I hope they back him up. I'd hate to see him taking a slingshot to a gunfight, as it were. He needs some firepower behind him as well. They need to spend more money than just him.
I think it will help. It will also help Dan McLay. If Dan McLay does in fact stay with that team, it'll probably help him. Some sprinters would think, well, if a potential GC contender or somebody like that comes to the team, then where's the place for me? And obviously thinking the Tour de France next year with Dan McLay, with Warren Barguil there, would he be a part of the team? So it's sometimes good to have a sprinter as well.
Just look at Sepp van Mark in these conditions, taking the turn here, probably about 5, 6, 10 seconds ahead of some of those around him. These are horrible conditions, don't forget, and he may well get a top 20 just outside of that marker by the looks of it. A lot of riders stacked against each other here, but nonetheless, good run by Sepp van Mark. An 11:31. There'll be plenty of others who are going to suffer, I'm afraid, a worse fate than he today. He really went for that in very, very challenging circumstances. And likewise, this Dylan van Baarle looks like he's not hanging around either.
Yeah, both of them are doing exactly the same. Dylan van Baarle has been up in the Eneco Tour before, a very good rider.
and likewise an outsider for the overall victory. So both Dylan van Baarle and Sepp van Mark have been given the instruction to go as hard as they can.
Oh, Moist has got into the camera here as well. Josh Sutherland looks like he's riding in a tunnel vision for us, but for him it's a question of getting his head down. This is a good time trial as you're watching. Only beaten by Tony Martin in the German trials. He'll certainly beat Tony Martin's time today, Tony having taken a tumble. He's a young rider who knows how to road race. That Comunidad Madrid that he won, that stage on behalf of Movistar, must have made him think, wow, what a great signing we've got here. And he's going for it today. He's looking sprightly.
Yeah, quality rider. And we just talked about Van Marken, Van Baarle for overall victory. Then Sutherland, do not discount him because he's a quality bike rider and across many disciplines.
Jonas Rickert drawing the attention of our Belgian and indeed Netherlands television providers here. André Greipel had just come off the ramp beforehand. I was looking forward to seeing André Greipel actually, if only to see how miserable he looked. Yesterday Greipel appeared to sit up. His shoulders have dropped a bit of late. He was bruised by the results of the Tour de France. And yesterday his train left him at the platform.
Yes, they did, and they did get in a good position coming into the sprint, but it's I think yesterday's sprint just shows, and looking at Tour de France, that maybe the long sprint trains have now gone.
I think so. Van Baarle coming to the line. Unfortunately, the clock's missing, and there it is. 37 seconds, so his teammate Sepp van Mark did find some time on his teammate, both equally committed. You're possibly thinking, well, maybe they should be after going out on a day such as this. We've got Arnaud Demar, by the way, who is already as well underway. Surprised we didn't see too much of him coming off the ramp as we were watching for Jonas Rickert, but nonetheless, here's just Sutherland. Check this out for a time. Well, I said it was going to be good, but I didn't expect to be this good. That is bravery personified. And of those who've gone late, this is setting his stall out, Brian, for deeper into this race. What an impressive performance by the young German. Going to stop the clock with a top 20 time this late in. That is super. An 11:22.
Yeah, very good time by Jonas Sutherland. That shows he's up for this race. Probably learned from maybe Alex Dowsett before in the time trial, and went out there in difficult conditions and set the fastest time of the conditions at this part of the course.
Well, frankly, I think that's one of the rides of the day so far. That was quite remarkable. I'm proud of him on behalf of his dad. Kumno's time won't be beaten, I don't think, today. It would just be too dangerous to try and approach anything nearer the 11-minute mark, but all credit to Sutherland, who's just finished, proving that Dauphiné result was no surprise, or indeed shouldn't have been a shock, and likewise his efforts at the Nationals in Germany. We'll keep an eye, back in a moment.
What is this place?
The Modern Software Factory, a hub of digital transformation. Is this where we come to compete? This is what you build to compete, where insight drives experience, where automation delivers better apps faster, where agile isn't just a buzzword, it's a way of life.
What about security?
Strong, yet frictionless. All working together at scale. It's about moving to new from old.
Oh, that's all right. I'll put mine back on.
Bullion by Post is the UK's #1 online bullion dealer. At Bullion by Post, we aim to make the process of buying gold and silver as easy as possible. You can buy bars and coins and get them delivered discreetly to your door. On our website, our prices are updated every 2 minutes and include free, fully insured delivery. To find out more, call us on 0121 403 3000 or visit us at bullionbypost.co.uk.
Knowledge of the law is one thing, but knowing people is quite another. Which is why our solicitors really get to know you, and not just your case. Widely regarded as the #1 personal injury law firm, we help you get the best possible medical care and rehabilitation. Call us today or visit us at owenmitchell.com. Owen Mitchell, the expert hand with the human touch.
Welcome to New Sky Sports, now with new dedicated
dedicated channels that get you even closer to the sports you love. Lewis Hamilton takes the checkered flag. Ramos with a crucial goal. An absolute stunner. Feel it all with new Sky Sports. Skechers Sport with memory foam.
People love coming home to quality solid hardwood furniture from Oak Furnitureland, like this 100% solid oak Edinburgh tall bookcase for just $3.99. With great quality and unmissable prices, there's a style to suit every room in every home. So you can rest easy. Oak Furnitureland.
Set sail on an award-winning river cruise with Emerald Waterways. Every detail of our ship's modern design is created to be inspiring. Unpack once and travel through the heart of Europe. And with Emerald Waterways, so much is included in the price. Book your 2018 river cruise now and save up to £1,250 per couple. Plus, for a limited time, enjoy unlimited free drinks throughout your cruise. To order your free brochure, visit emeraldwaterways.tv.
Tom Van Asbrook bringing it in. At the moment, some very late runs which have been impressive. Set Van Mark, but Josh Sutton in for me at Movistar has just been outstanding. We're speculating as to how Peter Sagan will go. Now, I can tell you it's brightening. The rain is still coming down, but the wind has eased because we've been from a southeasterly. We've swung round to a southwester, which brought in the rain, and it's now a northwester. So the wind has dropped, and it may well be that we start to see some times pick up, and this could be in the favour of Peter Sagan a little bit later on. Boy Van Poppel has got himself off and underway. Dylan Groenewegen, the powerhouse that is of Team Lotto Jumbo, will be off the ramp next. Then it's Mark McNally with Max Cornelissen, Elmar Reiners, Phil Bauhaus, De Rita from yesterday's break, who did so well to get himself some bonus seconds, which is why he's starting so late. And of course Peter Sagan, finally. Sagan goes off in about 13 minutes time. So I suspect we might, even though the damp conditions here, have some fireworks later on. Tim Merlier coming in. Good lad, but not a good time, I'm afraid, here on a very grisly day in Voorburg. One thing that's amazed me, Brian, is the enthusiasm of the crowd. Everyone's probably kitted out for this Dutch summer.
Yeah, the cafes will be busy because most of the race will be on in the local cafes and things like that. But yeah, there's still a lot of people like to see some of these cyclists start live. You know, it's only probably a couple of times a year they get the opportunities in this area to see some world class bike riders, and yeah, they support it. You know, you've got to remember that still in Europe and these part of the world, cycling is up there in the top 3 sports.
Indeed, and in fact, when you get to Belgium, it's hard to think of anything that will beat cycling in terms of its draw. Nonetheless, Jesper de Voist deep in his run, and this is Dylan Groenewegen.
I think he'll be worried about the first few corners, if you can remember Dusseldorf.
Yes, it wasn't an auspicious start. In fact, we thought that had knocked out his credentials for the sprints, but he slowly but surely built himself up to what a crescendo when he won up the Champs-Élysées in Paris.
Yeah, I think he could thrown away all the other opportunities he had when he won in the Champs-Élysées. That's the biggest you can get as a sprinter. That's the biggest stage you can win, and some people wait for years to do it, and he's done it in his second ever year.
Yeah, quite remarkable. Well, we'll see how he goes on the course today, but you saw he's got a lot of power there. He's delivering it right now. Others, I'm afraid, like Arnaud Demar, are on a bit of a jolly today, if you possibly could. Look at that time. He's going to be nudging up towards the 13-minute mark. Is this a man who really fed up from yesterday after he lost the line of his sprint train? He'll be leaving it to tomorrow to try and make amends, but there we are. Stopping the clock at 12:49. In fact, is that the slowest time we've had so far?
It looks like it could be, but he was riding as fast as he was after the line as he was before. Nice wee smile there.
There it is.
Get back to the bus quicker.
He's riding across the line there about as fast as he finished yesterday after he'd thrown his hands up with a to the heavens. There we go. Jasper the Voiced, likewise, it's an equally, I'm afraid, modest time today. And for those of you who stuck with us throughout this time trial, give yourself a pat on the back. Joan Kimmel says, so loving your commentary. Hated not having you on the Tour de France. I was here, Joan. I was there. You probably just tuned in at the wrong time. Yeah, big team, but I'll be with you, Joan, for the maybe she means the Giro. I don't know. I was playing somewhere else that day during that event. But yes, I'll be back for the Vuelta with Sean Kenny. Looking forward to it. Back Groenewegen then. What a superstar. As they say with sports cars, if it looks fast, it probably is fast, and that's the case with Groenewegen. We made a lot of this man, Edward Plancart. In fact, we were looking at him and ignoring the likes of Greipel, etc. Not quite sure why, but anyway, there we are. He's probably local.
Yeah, I think it's the spacing out of the other riders that are starting at this time. They've only got so many cameras, so they can only follow so many riders.
Well, I'm glad you've used that as an excuse, Brian, but yeah, I think it's because basically he's a local boy. But anyway, here we are. Out, somebody's looking it up now. Groenewegen still doing his thing. And here we are, Mr. Happy. Andre Greipel, 60th place. Just get this out of the way, Andre, and then try and hold on to your sprint train tomorrow. He's had a few knockbacks in his career, Greipel, but he always bounces back, and I expect him to see him go well in the next couple of days.
Yeah, he's won in this race before. He's won in Ardouais, so yeah, he's experienced enough rider. You know, he's up against a few sprinters that, in his own words, are you know, just kind of hard to beat now. But he'll be there and thereabouts. He's not going anywhere soon.
No, as you can see, just touching the power meter. I don't know what readings he's going to get. Probably just says wet. Groenewegen busy. Mark McNally is already off and underway. Jonas Hadikat, this was the man that they were focusing on. They expected him to go well. It's not a bad time, actually, to be fair, for the youngster. And it's nice to see that the local TV crews are supporting the local teams.
Yeah, exactly. The Belgian team here in Holland. It's Sport Vlaanderen, the only team in professional cycling from Flanders.
Secret to the name. Magnus Scott Nielsen got a good finish yesterday. Off and underway. The Danes go well in when it's inclement. And in fact, Soren Kragh Andersen is fourth quickest, so they could be keeping him in the family, as it were. His family, mainly from down under, and the motorbike camera. All credit to them, by the way. It's been impeccably well covered, this. They're used to it, and used to these kind of conditions. I guess that's in the favour of the technical crew.
Yes, they are. A lot of Europe are getting very hot weather. Unfortunately for Holland and Belgium, they're getting some thunderstorms. But very hot, I believe, in many parts of southern Europe.
Well, we're talking over 40 Celsius in places, and to be honest, that's a bit too hot for me. When I'm still carrying my sun scorch from the Tour de France, by the way, which is basically just a red head. I'm not a redhead, I've just got a red head. Brian, don't laugh too much, you've got those operation marks.
No, that's a button I press just to laugh, it's not my natural one. I've got a button I can press just to laugh, just to make it better.
Acknowledge it, thanks mate, I appreciate that. This is Groenewegen just coming to the end of his run round that sketchy corner. Nothing to do with Volvo, by the way. Sure, upset some people over there, but there we are. So just waiting for Peter Sagan, frankly, to de-ramp. He'll be coming off the ramp in a few moments' time. I was hoping that we were going to see Paul Bauhaus. In fact, I think we might, after we've seen Omar Reinders. Does it mean pigskin?
No, I thought they only used them at Christmas.
See what you did there, Brian. I wish I'd thought of it. Anyway, Mr. Reinders is about to get underway. Scratchings to you and me. Gosh, did you see the kick-up on the ramp there? I think it's a carpet. And I actually saw rather like a squeegee as he came off the ramp there. He was clearing water from the ramp. It was like a little fountain either side of his wheel as he came off. Well, clearly it does the grippy job. I thought it was vinyl, but it's not. It's a carpet, and quite right too. Up to one of these traditional counterweighted bridges. That's for when you need to bring your sailboat up the canals.
I don't have one, so I wouldn't know that. I don't mind about that anyway.
You just stick to your helicopter. Meanwhile, out on course, Magnus Cort Nielsen doing his thing as we wait for Phil Bauhaus to get underway, another young German that's been hugely impressive of late.
Yes, he's given up everything now. He's just sitting there. He's getting close to it.
Yeah, they're cheering him up by going back to him. They haven't given him anything to play with. He's read the book.
Yeah.
He's warmed down. He's changed clothes. He's had his cake. He's played a video game, and now he just wants to go home.
Looks like he will have his cake and eat it, because I can't see anybody going as fast as him.
Well, he set off, to be fair to him, 3 hours ago. So he's been there for quite some time.
Everybody else is back in their hotel room, relaxing.
Yeah, and he's basically got to go to the podium. He'll have to be back in his team colours and take his coat off, I imagine. Here's Groenewegen then, just to complete the duty, which is what it's become, hasn't it, for the late runs?
Yeah, I don't think for Groenewegen it's important that he takes any chances coming up over the next couple of days.
Here's Phil Bauhaus.
Are home with it, like this beautiful natural oak double bed, only $447. And right now, get a free gift worth up to £300 when you spend £1,500. Choose from mirrors, clocks, and lamps. You can furnish every room of your home at Oak Furniture Land.
Skechers Sport with memory foam.
Being diagnosed with a serious illness like cancer can bring financial worries. That's why at Lloyds Bank, we have staff trained by Macmillan Cancer Support to help manage your finances, so you can get on with life. Lloyds Bank, by your side.
RAC fix 4 out of 5 cars at the roadside on average in just 30 minutes. Get cover for just $34.99 at rac.co.uk.
Experience amazing.
Bullion by Post is the UK's #1 online bullion dealer. At Bullion by Post, we aim to make the process of buying gold and silver as easy as possible. You can buy bars and coins and get them delivered discreetly to your door. On our website, our prices are updated every 2 minutes and include free, fully insured delivery. To find out more, call us on 0121 403 3000 or visit us at bullionbypost.co.uk.
Welcome everybody. Peter Sagan is about to get underway. Now, you can see by his demeanour he's going to go for this. And that's because Sepp van Mark, he doesn't want him eating into the time gap that he's already posted, courtesy of his 10-second margin yesterday. That was the bonus at the line when he won the sprint. It was chaotic then, and this is likely to be in a very different way. He's a great bike handler, Brian. It bodes well for a strong run, and he's going to have to get one. He needs to be within about 20 seconds of the best time, and then he really will have taken control of this race.
Yeah, I think he just, first and foremost, he had the stage win yesterday. Today it's staying upright and doing the best time possible. He's thinking more of the overall, because when we think of the leading time at the moment, and we can remind everybody of that leading time of Stefan Kung, it's 10 minutes and 58 seconds at an average 49.2 kilometres an hour. I don't think that'll be beaten today, but do I really think that Peter Sagan can get within 10 seconds of it? I'm not too sure in these conditions.
No, I don't think he'll still be the leader at the end of today, but frankly, the way he is riding, anything is possible. Brian, every single one of these corners, he's trimming beautifully at the moment, and he is hyper-motivated.
Yeah, he would be. He's in the leader's jersey. I think, smarting a little bit. You can see the way he was riding in Poland about his disqualification from the Tour de France. He's come back with a bit of vengeance and rode really well in the Tour of Poland. He's come here. He wants to win this race. The parkour suit him, and he's certainly going to give it a good go today.
Yeah, it's a great race, this. It's an amalgamation of those of you who missed out yesterday. The explanation. They've basically drawn together some of the great classic races, Samson Gold Race, the Liège-Bastogne-Liège, Flanders. They make up the last 3 stages of this race. Sprinters in advance of that, and of course, you have this time trial as well. Mark McNally, strong rider, but today is not his strength, and I think that's proving it itself right now. He's going to be outside of the top 100. But safely completed, and it was a good finish yesterday by the rider from Wanty Group Gobert, and I'm expecting him to go well again tomorrow. We expect Peter Sagan to be in defensive mode, not necessarily to win the time trial today, although he'll give it a good go, but to impose himself upon this race. He will, of course, go brilliantly as this race draws to a conclusion, but also, oh, look at that, a double bunny hop, so not just going up and onto the top of some street furniture, but vaulting it entirely. We're going to see that move again. I'm hoping we get a slow-mo. He is on a mission, Brian.
Yeah, just trying everything to get the fastest out of these conditions. Very difficult for the late starters here in the time trial, second day here in the Binckbank Tour, but Peter Sagan, if he can sprint well over the next couple of days, maybe take some more bonus seconds, limit his losses today, and then go into the final 3 stages, which are fairly hilly.
To be honest, if he gets in the top 20, he'll be favourite to take the title full stop. We've got some sprint days coming up, and if the weather stays as grizzly as it is, and Peter Sagan is likely to cope very well. King there is our leader, as you've just seen. The only rider, in fact, to go under the 11-minute mark. Everybody else, including the main players who will be gunning for the title late on, have come late to the party. This is Magnus Cort Nielsen. This is a very strong run as well. It'll be outside of the top 40s, I imagine, but use it as a benchmark, if you will, by which we will measure Peter Sagan. Magnus Cort Nielsen, strong rider, often thrives in grizzly conditions, but when you factor in a time trial as well, it's a hard thing to master as he crosses the line at 47 seconds in arrears of the best time so far. One man who was very determined was Stefan Mark. Josh Sutherland as well produced a remarkable performance as well to open his account essentially for this race. There'll be others out there, I think, who are in danger of being caught, and this is one man, Laurens de Vries. If he takes it easy, well, with a 2-minute margin, he's unlikely to be caught, but there we are. You can ignore the intermediate time checks. They look slightly dodgy at the moment. I don't think de Vries is 1 second down overall, but I think as it stands right now, in the GC, I should say, as opposed to the today stage, this is one of the corners that have been foxing a few out there. In fact, Tony Martin took a tumble, so did Niels Pollitt, and the best of the Germans, Josh Sutherland, doing a stellar job out there. As far as the top 10 is concerned, it was nailed down early on. So it's about how those of the late runners, where we find most of our general classification contenders late on. This is the sketchy corner that caught out so many. This particular camera on this particular motorcycle has had a bit of water inundation, as you can see. But Peter Sagan is, well, he's wrestling as best he can throughout these appalling conditions, Brian. It's a pleasure to watch.
Yeah, it certainly is. He's always entertaining as the current world champion and leader of this race so far after his stage win yesterday. But Stephen Cook looks as if he'll be taking that leader's jersey into tomorrow's stage for BMC, but Tom Dumoulin has to be happy with this, and because Tom Dumoulin's sort of rider looking more for the overall victory, can't climb well. Soren Kragh Andersen, even Yves Lampard in 6th place at the moment. Tim Wellens, previous winner of this race, a good performance today, only losing 17 seconds on Stephen Kung. So they're the sort of riders that have done well today, limiting losses in the time trial and looking at overall victory next Sunday.
Reinders comes home again with a big deficit, getting on for a minute down, 53 seconds adrift of the best pace today. It's worth comparing what Yash Sutlin has done with those who've come afterwards. I'm just wondering whether Sutlin might be entering the minds of those who are minded to have a wager in this race. The youngster from Movistar looking very, very strong. We'll see how he functions when we get to some of the rolling stuff, but he's been riding very well on the road and has done a great job late on in the time trial amongst those who can feature when it does get tough. There's some big inclines to come in this race, not necessarily in terms of altitude gain, but certainly in terms of percentage and test.
It's definitely a race of two halves. Apart from the time trial, the first 3 stages are predominantly kind of sprint stages, and then we could get very hilly stages, but it's not hilly when we think of the Alps, the Pyrenees. These are short, sharp climbs. If we think of Amstel Gold, Liège-Bastogne, Liège, and the Tour of Flanders, that's the sort of hills we're talking about. So it's kind of traditional the last few years in this race. It always produces a kind of strong rider that's kind of type of classics rider, and exactly what we're seeing on the screens at the moment. This is the sort of rider that this Binckbank Tour, former Eneco Tour, produces winners like Peter Sagan.
Here's Phil Bauhaus, and a strong finish by him as well. This is very, very good from the German youngster. They seem to have found a real crop of great talent. And Phil Bauhaus proved yesterday that he's not only decent out as a road racer, but as a sprinter as well. And his time trialling today, well, you probably would be a little bit disappointed, but his spittle-laced chin here tells you the effort that he's actually put in. And for that, we thank him. 79th place along the way today. Sort of a marker, I think you might say, but possibly one of doom. Lawrence de Vriese is the next man home if Peter Sagan doesn't catch him, and right now we're catching our breath watching him.
Yeah, we certainly are. The conditions consistent, which is maybe a good thing, that you don't take the risks. And Peter Sagan, one of the best big handlers in the peloton, so he'll be again wanting to try and get the best possible time. Good effort for this man yesterday. Got in the breakaway and took all the bonus seconds in the golden kilometre, which gave him a longer lie this morning, but meant he was in the worst conditions in today's time trial.
Gosh. Well, they moderated the conditions just to allow, I think, Yash Sutlin to have a decent run, and they've got bad again. So it's hampering the late runners, the very, very late runners. It's the eternal inconsistent occasionally. There's nothing you can do about the weather, Brian, and when it has this variable nature, which you've got today, it makes it fascinating for us, but it must be so frustrating for the riders.
It has to be, and with it, if it was a prologue, then they would have, some of the riders would have a choice. Obviously, all the teams would have to, somebody would have to go off in the wetter conditions, but nobody can predict the weather, not even the weathermen. So it's very difficult to decide. And over this time trial today, the decider was yesterday. It's where you finished in that stage yesterday, determine where you're going to start today.
Lawrence de Vriese, it's going to be in the 70s, isn't it? And possibly worse by the time he comes to the line. And just look at the time. Stephen Kung time. It was a good time. Let's not beat about the bush, but the likes of Jos van Emden, who went the wrong way. He went down the exit lane for the support cars, and I think he was on potentially a winning drive then, but it didn't happen for him. Lawrence de Vriese way down, 119th home, 119th best on the day.
really describe it as best, but this man may well be by the time we reach the end of this race. Peter Sagan, last man on course, and Sports are doing a great job of staying close to him at the moment. Don't cut him on the inside. He hasn't found the driest part of the road, but that's because he's quite happy with his contact patch, and indeed how he's taking these curves. Let's see how much respect he gives the next one, which is coming up right now. He seems to know the course extraordinarily well. He's cutting all the apexes as you would even in the dry. This is a motivated man.
I think so, and I think a reasonably good ride now, because he's 2 minutes at deficit to De Vries in front of him, and it looks as if he's going to be finishing fairly quickly.
Wow, Peter Sagan coming in, and this is as brave and a gutsy performance as you're likely to see. This is outstanding. Peter Sagan, in these conditions, we remind you, it's been wet all day, but nothing like this. And he's going to get himself, what, top 20 spot? But more important than that, this is a huge grab. 17th place today at 11:23. Is anything going to stop this man in this race from becoming the title winner of the first Binckbank? He's looking good, Brian.
Yep, 25 seconds lost to Stefan Kung, which will mean that he will be 15 seconds off him in the overall, which isn't bad considering we've got 2 sprint stages coming up. He's very capable of getting bonuses there, and then we go into the climbs, the classics days, and he's well suited to the type of races as well.
Well, don't forget the bonuses that come along as well. They'll be potentially hunting down the golden kilometre, where we have 3 sprints locked together late on in the next 2 days, where the fast men will be able to find plenty of time. Peter Sagan, you know, it may well be given to going for some of those. Certainly the 10-second bonus at the finish line that gave him the lead in this race. He's lost the lead overall today, Brian, but don't be surprised if he regains it in the next couple of days, and certainly towards the end of this race.
Well, he's kept himself in the top 10, which is the good thing. But the winner of today's stage is
Stefan Kung, doing it for Switzerland at BMC. The only rider to come in under the 11-minute mark. Had the advantage of going early, but there was lots of time trialists who went out early as well, and Kung had the beating of them. Very, very accomplished ride by the Swiss. And, well, quite frankly, he may well be a contender late on. He's not that bad when we come to rolling terrain. Is he the equal of the likes of Peter Sagan, though, and others that will hope to regain time when it gets lumpy this race?
It's going to be interesting. It's an interesting day-to-day, but I think when we look at the results here, that we had most of the best time trialists off early in kind of drier conditions. And I think this would have been the result. Okay, some late riders would have had maybe faster times, but I think these are the best time trialists we had in today's events: Kung, Bodnar, Dumoulin.
Well, you just saw Tom Dumoulin, that's his Bodnar, runner-up on the day. And this man has had the beating of everybody. Stefan Kung. Look at that. Rock and roll of the head. I don't think at that point he would have been aware that this race day was to belong to him.
And he'd have a day of sitting in Chesterfield's chair reading a book.
Indeed. Reading a book, having a slice of cake. Just my kind of training, Brian. Thanks for your company, by the way, today. We look forward to your company tomorrow. What have we got, Brian?
It's not even wet enough.
No, it's not. Where's the water in the log slide?
Nobody's been in it because they don't want to get wet.
I would have thought it was an ideal place for a post-race walk down. Brian, where are we heading tomorrow?
We are heading. We're staying in Holland tomorrow, and heading over towards into Ardouille, Belgium, where we predominantly see a sprint finish. Tom Bonnen has won it in the past there. Grijpo's won it again. So we start on the coast and head in towards inland to Ardouille in a fairly flattish stage.
There we are. Kung is the king today. Good lad. Looks like he's just waking up to the fact. Yes, tomorrow we head from Binckbank, where they make the blankets.
That was a
Down to, oh no, here he is.
hot seat, right?
Yeah. It was more a cold seat because it's not so warm in here, but yeah, I've been waiting 2.5 hours and now finally it's good. I'm really happy.
So tell us, what have you been doing in the last couple of hours? Because we saw you on the bike, we saw you reading a book.
Yeah, first I wanted to do the cool down because after a hard effort like this, you're full of acne. And tomorrow and after tomorrow there's still stages to come. And then I had my book with me. And I couldn't watch all the time because then you're nervous already. And so I took the time and had a read.
What were you waiting for? Maybe the man who's just behind us here, Peter Sagan, because he was maybe the big competitor in the last hour?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of good guys went off in the beginning, even before me. So, then it was like Tony Martin. I was watching anxiously his ride. Unfortunately, he crashed. All the best to him. And then for sure with Peter, I mean, on a parcours like this, pretty technical, he can do amazing stuff on his bike, and he has also legs to go for. So you're always nervous until the end because you never know. You never win before the race is really over. So now I'm really relieved.
I can imagine. Once you beaten Dumoulin and Botnar today, then you might knew this could be the winning time today.
Yeah, it was a really difficult parcours. Like even when I went out, it was the roads were wet and it was raining slightly, and a lot of corners, a lot of tricky corners. We saw a few crashes, and it's like you have to be focused, and it's like 20 turns that you have to remember which one you take and which way, and you don't have an intermediate time check, so it's just kind of all out till the end. And like I saw that Schorsch said, thumbs up after the line, like you have best time. Then I saw, okay, Dumoulin, Botnar, Jos van Emden, so a lot of good guys beaten. But you hope until the end, then you know.
Of course, last question then for you. Not only stage win, you're also the leader overall right now. What's your ambition for this week, or could we expect you maybe to wear this jersey for a long time?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, the goal is to take it till the finish, but it's going to be hard. There's some difficult stages with a lot of difficult stages, like actually in the Ardennes, and then with the finish in Gerardsbergen. But I come off the Tour de France, so I'm in good shape. I'm ready, and we'll fight for it till the end.
Your day, this deed is over. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Well, his day is at an end. It looked like it took him a while to wake up there. He's an action man. Doesn't like sitting down in a big comfy sofa. He did it today early on, as you can see from the surface here, and indeed the lack of umbrellas for the crowd. It was drier conditions than those faced by those going late on. Be interesting to see what the weather mix will be tomorrow as we head from the coast in Binckbank all the way down to the more familiar Ardui. It does start to roll after a flat opener. If the weather's there, who knows? Well, one thing I do know, Brian, is that I'm up for a bit of stompot tonight. What about yourself?
I might join you, actually.
Yeah, good lad. Stompot being mashed potato, turnip, and a few other vegetables knocking in there as well, with mustard and butter whipped into it. It's gorgeous. There's Stefan Kung talking about gorgeous. What a great time for him, and in fact that's your overall classification. He is our leader by a margin of 4 seconds at Messerspotnar, Tom Dumoulin, but look at that, Peter Sagan only 15 seconds down there in 8th place, and some very, very talented riders around him. This race is going to be terrific. We go sprinting again tomorrow. There's a 10-second bonus at the line, and the bonus is in the Golden Kilometre, which comes extraordinarily late yet again. In fact, at the about 25 kilometres from home, there'll be 9 bonus seconds up for grabs, and if the sprint trains have already sorted themselves out, that will be feisty. For Ricardo Kirby and for Brian Smith, hopefully we'll see you tomorrow.